Hello, my name is Molly Crenshaw, and I'll be your instructor in Anatomy and Physiology 2 this spring, 2020. I wanted to open by showing you what your TCU Online homepage will look like for the course. When you're able to log in, which will be midnight, the first day of classes, you'll be able to access all the items that you see here. To begin with, I tend to post a lot of announcements in the class rather than emailing you over and over again, and so make sure you're always taking a look here at the announcements section. When you log in, you'll see this very first announcement, which walks through some of the things you'd want to do before you get to class on the very first day. And one of the things that's notable here is that your AMP2 labs do begin the first week of class. So make sure you know your lab location and the lab time and show up the first week. Your lab instructor will provide you with a PDF form of the lab exercise we are working on this week in case you don't have time to stop by and pick up a lab manual from Frog Prints. You should make sure to watch a pre-lab video. It's a YouTube video, which is how we generate all of our pre-lab videos. Watch that before you get to lab. That's what's going to give you all the information you need to be ready for all the procedures we're going to work through. Right now, I'm actually putting together this YouTube video to walk you through an introduction of the class. And so when you log into TCU Online, you'll see a reference to that in step 2. The other things I want to show you right here are under the Content tab. So under Content, you'll be able to see a lot of items that I show you guys, and the most important here will be under Overview, which is the syllabus. So I do want to touch on a few key points of the syllabus. I've brought it up in a larger form here. So first off, you can see location, time of our lecture, my email address, my office phone number, and my office hours. I want to make a note here about a couple of things. Email is the best way to get in touch with me because I don't always check my voicemail very regularly. So send me an email. I check that most days and before I go to bed. And then right here you can again see my office hours. That's Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. This is not the only time I'm available. Please feel free to set up an appointment with me any other time that I'm available during the week. I'll be happy to meet with you. I realize a lot of people have conflicts with this time, so don't let that stop you from coming by. And here's my office location. I'm just around the corner from the AMP labs, and that's going to be important for completing your first assignment in this course. So let me go ahead and proceed down a little bit further before I talk about assignments. So you are required to have a textbook for this class. There's a lot of different forms that you can buy. E-text, you can buy the app version that comes with McGraw-Hill Connect. You can buy a loose leaf textbook. You can use a bound textbook. You can even go back an older edition to the 7th edition if you like. I'm not going to be checking your textbooks, but you are going to need them for lab and for lecture reading. So make sure you have one. Again, make sure you have that lab manual. You'll purchase that from Frog Prints. Just make sure you do that sometime in that first week of classes. And you'll need an iClicker with you. You'll also see here your course evaluation and how the grades will be determined. Class participation in here will be 5% of your grade. Online lecture quizzes are another 5%. And your 5 lecture exams over the semester carry the bulk at 55%. Please note that lab and lecture are a combined course for anatomy and physiology, and lab will contribute 35% of your overall course grade. So while you might have a different lab instructor than me, your lab instructor will, at the end of the semester, turn your lab averages into me, and I will incorporate them into a total course grade to give you one course average. I report those grades to the registrar. If you've got any questions about how to calculate this at any point in time, please feel free to reach out. To make sure that you obtain the letter grade that you would like, make sure you follow this course grading scale. We almost never, ever have curves in AMP2 because students do very well in the class. That doesn't mean it's not hard, but students generally know what they're getting into now, better than they did in AMP1. I'll leave a lot of this for you to read through. I do have tips here for how to actually stay engaged in the class and how to stay on top of things. And then down here, I begin to mention my attendance policy. I will take attendance, and I will generate a participation grade in the course for those students who are present and are active, and I'll explain how that's done. If you are going to leave early, please note, if I haven't excused that early leave, then it'll register in your iClicker that you're walking out of the room early, and it will deduct credit from you for the day. So don't just get up and leave because you're bored and you're tired unless you're willing to forfeit points. However, if you have an excused reason for leaving, then we'll talk about how that adjusts your grade on a case-by-case basis. As far as the lecture exams go, there are 5. They are 60 points each. Keep in mind that all 5 of them look about the same in content. They'll all be multiple choice questions. And that 5th exam that I reference here is given during final exam week and is essentially your final exam. Now, the reason I can do this is because exams 2 through 5 are comprehensive. So between 15–20% of the questions at the very beginning of the test will come from previously tested chapters. We'll discuss this a little bit more as exams come up. Scantrons are provided. When we talk about exam protocol here, I will be referencing these items. So please make sure that you read back through all the exam protocol before exam dates. It is very important to note what is written here in terms of absence and tardiness on exam days. If you arrive late, I may not allow you to take the exam period, so please make it a priority to be here on time. If you happen to miss an exam, contact me as soon as possible. If you're missing because you're representing the university, then you must contact me before that absence, and we will schedule your exam makeup. Any other reason for missing an exam is going to be handled on a case-by-case basis. I generally do not allow student exam makeups unless it's a very concrete reason that's been discussed with me. Again, you are required to take that final exam. You can see final exam schedules here in the TCU calendar, and you can see exemption policies associated with the 24-hour rule and those associated with graduating seniors. So please take a look at all of this as we get closer to final exams. Now to discuss our class participation in this course. So I will be giving you grades on class participation based on these 3 criteria. So first off, we have online pre-lecture quizzes. I'm going to be assigning these quizzes through TCU Online, and they'll be available for 48 hours, and they close at midnight prior to the lecture that they're associated with. Each one's going to be 5 to 10 questions. A lot of them are multiple choice, some are matching, some are fill in the blank. And it's going to include concepts covered during the previous lecture and assigned reading for upcoming lectures. This is really important to me because I need you preparing before you come to class. I will not be giving graded quizzes in lecture, so this is your way to prove to me that you are staying on top of the material. You will be able to see the quiz schedules pop up in the TCU Online calendar, so let me point that out to you right here. There's a couple of places you can see it. When you first log in to your lecture portal, you can scroll down and see the calendar right down here. You'll already see I have an assignment ready to go. We'll look at that in a second. But you can also access the calendar by going right here directly to the calendar link. Please pay attention to this. I will not be emailing you and telling you when quizzes are coming up. Just make sure you know when they're, make sure you're paying attention here to the calendar so you can get ready for that. Okay. So that's, of course, the first way that I judge class participation is with those quizzes. They are untimed. I'll only accept your first attempt, and no late submissions will be accepted. I'll also not give you any makeup opportunities for any of these quizzes. Now, that's a pretty harsh policy, which is why at the end of the semester I do drop your 3 lowest quiz grades, but I will not do that till the very end. The second thing we're doing for participation is using iClickers. So I'm going to use the iClickers to take attendance and to poll your understanding and to help facilitate group discussion. So the idea here is as long as you bring your clicker and as long as you have batteries ready to go, then you can just participate as we go. You're going to earn 1 participation point each day as long as you respond to 75% of your in-class clicker questions. This is all going to be feeding into an iClicker cloud software portal that's associated outside of TCU Online. Now let me show you how this works. You do have to register your student ID that comes from your TCU ID along with your TCU iClicker remote ID into the iClicker cloud system in order to make sure I get all of your attendance and polling data. So if we go back here to the TCU Online portal and you click on content, you can scroll down here to where it says iClicker registration. I've given you a link here for some registration instructions, just a PDF, and it shows you step by step what you need to do. This works out for you if you already have an iClicker and you've registered for a course before using cloud. You can also follow the directions here to set up a new account if you've never used cloud. You want to make sure that when you actually register, you follow the instructions here, but ultimately that you log into the Clicker Cloud link here. Please do not type in iClicker Cloud in your browser and go through the process from there. The only way to make sure your grades actually sync is to click this link to register for the course. There's always a number of technical issues that come up here, so we'll just deal with them as they come. So make sure you're emailing me when you have questions. Please make sure that you have your clicker registered by Thursday, the second day of class. Finally, we're going to be giving participation grades based on in-class discussion assignments. So as lectures go on, I will routinely give you clinical case studies to go through or just give you discussion questions that are associated with the lecture that you'll work on with the people around you. You will be able to find your own seats and decide your own groups, but if I find that students are not working together over the semester, I will begin to assign groups. What you will do is essentially work through a discussion and make sure that you're following the directions to that. Sometimes I'll ask you to sketch something. Sometimes I'll ask you to make a flow chart. Sometimes it will be multiple choice questions that I pass out. Regardless of whatever it is, you're going to upload that assignment into TCU Online by 2 o'clock that day. And so what you'll do, for example, is take a look here at this very first assignment. So again, if I go back here to the calendar, you can see the first assignment that's going to be due is an office selfie. And so here I'm accessing it from the calendar. Right? So it gives you a description here of what this office selfie is going to be like. And you could just click right here on this link to actually submit that. When you're in lecture and you're getting ready to submit an assignment, you'll do this by going up to Activities and Assignments. What you'll do is you'll find the name of the assignment that we are completing that day, click on it, and it will give you the opportunity to upload that file. Now those files, again, are all going to be due by 2 p.m. that day that we're working on that activity. And I will go back through and I will give you a grade. Most of the time, these are completion grades. If it looks like you really haven't taken the time to do it, then I will detract points from you. So just make sure you're giving it your best shot, and you'll be sure to get full credit. Keep in mind that late submissions are counted as 0, period, even if there's technical issues. Right? And so, again, because this is a hard policy, the 2 lowest in-class assignment grades are going to be dropped at the end of the semester. So again, anytime there's reading assignments, whether that's associated with an activity we're doing in class or a quiz, I have some advice for how to do that. I know one of the things that students run into is they really don't know how to read, they don't know how to take notes, and so this is just some basic advice for how to fulfill that. I've given you here at the very end of the syllabus lots of links to other things that are associated with TCU Online. So here you can find access information and help desk information for TCU Online. You can find access and contact info for disability services at TCU. And I'll make a note here, if you do have paperwork for accommodations for class activities, you need to make sure you renew those every semester. Do that the very first week of class because it generally takes 2 to 3 weeks for them to actually get paperwork out. Once you have your paperwork, you need to bring that to me. We will discuss your accommodations. I'll sign your paperwork and return it to you. Only once we have met and I've signed your paperwork can I give you any accommodations. Please let me know if you have any questions about this as you begin to walk through that process. I've also provided an email template here. Because I work with so many students over the semester, I've realized that communication really varies. And so here I've given you a template of how emails should look when they're sent to anyone on campus at all. So you can read through that, get an idea of what I expect, and that's going to make our communication go a little bit more smoothly. Please read through what's associated with academic misconduct and the Title IX policy here at TCU. I've given you advice from former students. I think some of it's pretty good, so I put that all in there. And of course, here is your calendar. Please note that all dates are subject to change, so if there's a cancellation for the day, or if we end up getting behind or ahead, some of these dates may move around. I tend to stick with your exam dates. Those don't usually move, so please get your planners out and make sure you put those dates in there. Please let me know if you've got any questions about any of these dates, and I'll be happy to answer those for you. So before we close out, of course, I do want to show you here where your notes are going to be. So when you open up TCU Online, here we'll go back to the opening portal, I put all of your notes under Content, right there at the very top. And so you'll see right over here, I've got your notes for the endocrine system ready to go. I'd use PowerPoint in this class. You can open these notes and download the files and use them however you would like, or you can abandon them entirely. It's up to you. I will oftentimes give you supplementary learning methods here. in this particular section of TCU Online. So for example, you can see a table to fill out and a flow chart you can fill out just to help. If anything is supposed to be for a grade, I will emphasize that. Otherwise, these are all there just for your benefit. This is also where you'll see audio recordings of the lectures pop up. I record lectures and I post them at the end of class every day in case you want to go back and hear something you might have missed. So that's pretty much it. Please let me know if you have questions, and I look forward to a great semester with you all.